Greetings. This is the Getto Free Press, and I'm George Boston Rhymes. And once again, I've been called to another location. Bobby, what's the name of the city?
Hinesville, Georgia.
And there's a church where?
It is in Warfiville, Georgia.
All right. As you all know in America that the Word of God, different denominations and belief systems, everybody have a right to worship the way they would like. But when I was called here today, I could tell you what I think, what I heard, what I believe. But I have some unique individuals here. I don't know who have reported this before, but it's in the hands of the Getto Free Press now. And as you know, we report what others ignore. What's your name, my beautiful brother?
Arlen Bradeen.
Brother, say that again?
Arlen Bradeen.
Spell that last name, please.
B-R-A-D-E-E-N.
Okay, and I was told about a church, and I understand that you know something about this church.
I know quite a bit about this church.
And you can talk about it?
I can talk.
A, B, and C?
All the way to Z.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk.
All right. Give me that name once again.
My full name is
Yes.
Arlen Bradeen.
Bradeen, do you know me?
I just met you about 10 minutes ago.
We didn't know each other, am I right?
I've never met you.
Okay. I never been to the church that I've been told about. What's the name of this church? And give us, first of all, give me a 1-minute background on who you are.
Well, first of all, I'm a Christian. I gave my heart to God in 1982 in the military in Germany. And I've been a pastor since 1987. Love God, love people, love to share the gospel of Jesus Christ. That's a good background of me.
Okay, and where are you from?
I'm from Washington State.
Okay, and how did you find yourself down here in Georgia?
Well, I was affiliated with another group, and
When you say group, what do you mean?
another church,
Okay.
another church organization, and they had left the foundation of what they said in 1982. So I was on my way out, and I found that the man who is the head of the church we're talking about.
And what's the name of the church we're talking about?
Well, they go by House of Prayer Christian Churches of America, but here in Hinesville they've changed the name to the Place of Help because they've given themselves so much negative publicity, by the way they condemn everybody, condemn every church, condemn everything that everyone does. And also in some of their affiliated churches, like in Savannah and Augusta, they are called the Assembly of Prayer.
Okay, now, do you have the address of this church?
Yes, well, it's 2540 Airport Road.
Okay. City?
Waltharville. But most people just say Hinesville. Waltharville is a small city.
But my question is, if somebody would write to church, the address that would be appropriate for them to send mail to?
Oh yes, they could send it to 2540 Airport Road, Hinesville, Georgia, 31310, and it would get there.
Okay, and have you ever been a member of this church?
More than a member. I've been a pastor, one of their pastors.
For how long?
Since 04, from 04 to 18, so 14 years.
Okay, so what is the initially get the American people started off? What is the base level that could be the problem with this particular church?
Well, the problem is the man in charge, Roney Dennis, claims that and he said this openly, hundreds of people have heard this, that he is God's last prophet, and that the only way to get to heaven is through him. Anyone has to come to him and confess their sins, and he has to clear them before God.
How did you get out of that belief? Did you believe what he said?
No.
How did you get out of there?
I finally had enough. He was trying to break me down. What he does, if anyone will study cults or narcissists, the Jezebel spirit, do a YouTube search, you'll find many teachings. And it seems like every one of them was a life study of Roney Dennis. And so what I did, I've been at odds with him for the longest, but my ex-wife of 30 years, she believed that he is the man of God, and that he can do no wrong, and he's the last righteous man, and he's the only way to heaven. And so I would not openly, and what he does, he gets people to publicly confess of all kinds of sexual impurity. He brainwashes people. He practices cult brainwashing, mind implantation, and a lot of that can be researched on the website hopcc.com. There's a lot of studies on there. And so he was trying to break me down and make me publicly confess a lot of very wicked stuff. And I told him that I did not do it, and he kicked me out. And that was May 18th, 2018. And by the time I got home, I left my wife. I said, okay, I'm out of here. I'll pick you up after prayer meeting. He did it publicly in a noon prayer meeting, but he was somewhere else he's on the PA system. He calls in, they put him on the PA, and he controls all the churches this way. Just like Jim Jones used to do over the loudspeakers, he does that all the time. And so he publicly kicked me out. I gladly left. I already had all my coat, my Bible, everything in my hand, because I knew once I did not say what he wanted, I was gone. By the time I got home, my wife of 30 years, my 2 adult children in their 30s, and my son-in-law, who became the pastor in my place even before I left, had all of my belongings jammed into boxes and tote carry boxes at the front door. 30 years of marriage, that was my 55th birthday present and my 30th anniversary present. And that's what a cult does to people.
Okay, Mr. Larry, looking back on what you have told us up to this point, how did you seem to be a very intelligent person, how did you allow yourself to get suckered into this individual?
Well, because He's extremely charismatic, and he is just, the church we came from, he was a overseer there. He wasn't like the leader of the church, but he was like an overseer. And he seemed to really be effective in bringing people to Christ. And that was very attractive to me. And all the things that he said in the beginning, and there I can give you phone numbers of other preachers who have left. They will confirm everything I'm saying. He promised us we're not going to be like the last group. We're not going to trash women. We're not going to trash other churches. You know, he knew how to say everything to get you to believe, okay, this is a movement. We're going to live the book of Acts.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, everything that you just said, and you said something that I want the people that watch this to follow along with me. So you said there was other ministers and they left. Now, if they left, then he must didn't have a good time with them. How did they leave? He let them leave, right?
Well, what he does with people is he lets you be there, and he's always working on you to break you down to where you are a complete, I use the word zombie, and in studying voodoo, he is from Haiti, and in studying voodoo, they believe in zombies there. He wants to break people down to where you are a mind-numb zombie. This is what one of the ministers that are still there said. He said, if I see a dog in the road and Pastor Dennis says it's a cat, it's a cat. That's what Dennis wants. That's what Jim Jones wants. That's what David Koresh wants.
About how many members attends that church?
Here in Hinesville, somewhere between 300 to 400.
Okay.
And nationally, probably about 1,200 or more, right around that amount.
Now, if I ask you at this moment to give me a name of an individual that maybe could corroborate or back up something that you said here in the city or the state of Georgia, could you call that person out and let them speak a little bit about what you said and confirm what you said or to disprove what you said?
Here in this of Georgia, you mean another pastor?
No, just an individual.
Oh,
any place.
Oh yes, I can call from some people I'm looking at right now.
You can?
Yes.
Well, let's get some of them around the table.
All right.
My beautiful sister, what's your name?
My name is Lois York.
And Miss York, can you verify or disapprove what Larry said here this evening?
Yes. I was a member. I joined the church in 2006 and I left in 2009. At the time, I was here in Hinesville at the Hinesville Church where Pastor Radine was the pastor of the local church at the time.
Okay. Tell me and my 4,200 subscribers on YouTube, plus your experience from the time you got there. Just walk us through ABCD.
My first encounter with the church was actually not here in Hinesville. It was at another church in Killeen, Texas, and I was an active duty soldier. I was invited to the church there in Killeen, Texas, so I went there, went to a Bible Q&A, and very shortly after, I deployed to Iraq and reassigned to Fort Stewart, Georgia, so that was my only encounter there.
Wait a minute. You say Fort Stewart.
Mm-hmm.
You was in the military?
Yes, I was active duty.
How long did you serve in the military?
8 years. I was in for 8 years.
Was you a member of the church while you was in the military?
Yes, I was.
So for you to be a person in the military, your mind had to be pretty sharp.
I I would say so. For some reason, if you pay attention, when they go out and soul win and invite people to church, they tend to target soldiers. Soldiers,
Military people.
active duty soldiers, whatever the case. If you're a soldier, you're very attractive to this church, and I think most of that is because soldiers, they are very smart, very disciplined, but they're very easy to control. Also, soldiers have a lot of benefits, which this church is reaping from. As far as college benefits, they have a Bible seminary to where you can use your GI Bill or your tuition assistance to pay for the seminary. It's not really an accredited school, so, and you don't have a definitive date of graduation.
Okay, now you just said something about a school. What kind of school you talking about? This is the first time. What do you mean a school? What you talking about a school? What you talking about?
It's a Bible seminary or a Bible college. A lot of people joining the ministry would go through seminary.
Okay, where is the school located?
It's
In
at
Atlanta?
At the church in Hinesville, 2540 Airport Road.
They got their own school. From what grades to what grade?
It's for, they do have, the Bible seminary is for adults. If you have a calling, you have a desire to join the ministry, you go through seminary, you can go to the church, you can ask, you know, I feel like God wants me to do more. You can go to the seminary and study the Bible. And you can use your veterans benefits, school benefits, to pay for it. The only thing is, you don't have, it's not like a regular accredited school. You don't have a definitive graduation date. A lot of times if you're a woman and you're married to a preacher or somebody who is studying in the seminary, it's you could be in this school for years and years and years, 9 and 10 years.
What? Okay.
As long as you're in that school, they are collecting the benefits. They are collecting the money that soldiers are entitled to pay for their schooling.
What are the credentials of the educators there?
0.
Have they been to college? If so, what area or field, or do you know?
I do not know. I don't think they have any credentials as far as an accredited school or university. It's just basically.
Okay. We about to come to an end. Everybody that I talked to today, hopefully we can get a longer interview later as well. You say you got more people. But right now, I want you to answer this question for me, because I cannot understand. Well, let me put it like this. Is any active duty military personnel attending that church now?
Yes, majority of them are active, or at one point were active duty.
Okay, that being the case, Mr. Larry, Arlen, Mr. Arlen, I'm sorry, I fixed that. Mr. Arlen, if the church is so bad, is there any complaints in the community or with law enforcement that should get the curiosity of the base commander for somebody to come in and investigate what is going on at the church?
Absolutely. If you go to the base right now and you ask about the church, house of prayer, or place of help, they'll tell you. They'll tell you it's a bad place. They'll tell you don't go. But the thing, and if you go to the Hinesville City Police, they've had to deal, because we haven't even delved into the real estate fraud yet. Because they own several houses and they rent them out, and there's been all kinds of complaints. At one time, they were blacklisted. The group the LLC or whatever it was that ran the House of Prayer rental properties. And they were blacklisted from Post. And that's all documented. You can dig that up. And so there are a lot of complaints, but this is what I've found. Since I got out, I've done what I can to try to expose, because they not only have a Bible seminary, but they have a K through 12 school that is not accredited, that doesn't, they don't have their own curriculum, they're just fraudulent. Okay, so there's so much, and people know, but people are afraid because it is called a church and the freedom of religion. And law enforcement, so many people are afraid to touch it. Now, I don't ever want to be against a church, but this is not a church.
So you respect the freedom of religion, right?
100%.
But you mentioned already Jim Jones, these other religious institutions that ended up in a negative, very negative image as far as this nation goes. So you're kind of concerned that something may happen at this church?
George, this man, Roney Dennis, has said publicly, God has given him permission to kill everyone in House of Prayer. He has said that publicly. And he has publicly threatened my life. The only problem with him threatening my life, that's a felony. I found this out. I did research. That's a terrorist threat to threaten someone's life. But everyone that heard him is still in there.
How long ago has this been?
That would be about 2 years ago. No, 18 months ago.
When did you hear that he said he would take your life?
That would be about October, somewhere around October 2017. He said he is going to counsel my wife, and if I interfere, he and God will kill me.
And your wife is still there?
And my wife is, well, no, my ex-wife.
Your ex-wife is still there?
Because if she, these people know I've done everything I can to reach her. What I've written is on the internet about it.
Okay.
But she's
okay, now
made
you
a
said,
choice.
go ahead, I'm sorry.
She's made a choice. She wants to follow.
So you say it's on the internet. Where can people find this information that you've published already?
On hopcc.com.
Would you, if you had an opportunity to invite CNN, MSNBC, and national news media, what would you say to that question if somebody asked you that? To come visit the church or to come and interview you?
Well, I would welcome. I would want any of them to come.
Okay. My beautiful sister, one other question for you. Were you ever threatened at the church?
My life was not threatened. I left in 2009, and I was pretty much told that there was no hope for my soul. I was going to hell, and it was just a bad place. It seems like when I arrived at the decision that things were not going well, and I remember the very statement that I made, it was like making that statement was the decision to go a different way. And I remember it's a lot of times when people leave, they have to leave their family behind. My husband at the time, my now ex-husband, I had to leave him behind. But
Wait. Your ex-husband, where's he at now?
He's still in the church. He's still in the church.
Okay.
And I remember an argument we had, and he was basically defending Dennis to me. And I remember making a statement, Roney Dennis is not your God. And that was a statement that split our marriage apart.
How long were you all married?
We were only married for 2 years.
2 years. Now, sitting here in the chair that I'm sitting in, I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked, I can't remember your name.
Arlen,
I got you now. The same question I asked him. If I asked you to give me the name of somebody else that have experienced what goes in that church, who would you call?
Pretty much anyone here.
Okay.
Gladys.
Okay, well, let's see if we can get them, and let's go a little further. My beautiful sister, what's your name?
Gladys Jordan.
Gladys Jordan. I was called here today. I didn't know nothing about this. I'm going to tell you the truth, probably less than 20 minutes ago. But my slogan is that I report what others ignore. You've heard of this church, and what's the name of it?
House of Prayer Christian Church.
Okay, and since I don't want to go over the same information we've already gone through, but can you call the cities across America that more of these churches are located at? Give the locations.
They're also called Assembly of Prayer. There's 2 in Killeen, Texas, 1 in San Diego, California, 2 in Washington State, 1 in Augusta, Georgia, 2 in Savannah, Georgia, 1 in Fayetteville, 1 in Clarksville, Tennessee, and 1 in St. Louis, Missouri.
That's all of them.
That's all of them. And they're all near military installations.
Why do you think they're near military installation?
Because they prey on the military.
Now, how can you make that statement? How do you know this to be fact, or are you guessing?
Because my husband was part of the military. He was in the military too.
And can I speak? Where is he?
He's at home. He's out of the church.
But
I was part of the church since 2004.
Oh, so he's out too?
He's out.
Both of you all out?
Yes.
How did you all get out? Excuse me, but...
We got out because I started asking questions. Actually, Arlen, he was my pastor then, and him and another minister, G.B.R. Robertson, because I was asking questions, they put me out of the church, and Roney Dennis ordered them to put me out of the church. Because to them, I was looking too much into it. I was finding out too much information that they didn't want out.
What kind of information did you want? Or was you looking for?
Like the real estate fraud, because they have hundreds of houses, you know, where they have people buy houses and they deed them to other people. My son was actually part of the, my son is still in there, Cesar Vargas. He's 24 years old, and right now he's still part of the church. And I have
locally?
Yes, the Hinesville Church.
Does he ever communicate with you?
No, it's been 2.5 years since I've spoken to my son.
He called his father?
No, not at all. Ronnie Dennis ordered him to cut all communications with us. Anybody that leaves the church, nobody has contact with their own family members. Nobody. Ronnie Dennis makes his members cut all communications with their families. Change phone numbers. My son has changed his phone number more than 5 times already. He's in the Augusta, Georgia church.
What military base is near that?
That's
Fort Gordon.
Fort Gordon.
Fort Gordon, okay. And what would you say to the American people concerning this church?
That this is a modern day Jim Jones cult. Ronnie Dennis is infatuated with Jim Jones. He has passed propaganda in the church because we have done rallies. Me and my friend Janessa, when we got out, we have done rallies in front of the church, exposing the church of everything fraudulent, from the fraudulent day school, the fraudulent Bible college, the houses, the real estate fraud. We have done rallies, and the man, Ronnie Dennis, is infatuated with Jim Jones. He has a polycom, which is a PA system in all of the churches where he communicates. He could be in one of his beach houses in Florida, and he calls in the church, and everybody just have to be there listening to this man. He has actually, because we have called him Jim Jones, he has actually passed around propaganda of Jim Jones, and he has told his members, oh, those ladies out there, they call me Jim Jones. I'm not Jim Jones. I'm not going to execute you.
Wow.
Yes. He was infatuated with
And so when you mention, I'm listening to you because you talk so fast, I mean you know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you think he can have that much influence over another human being? But I know you said Jim Jones, and but How
Because
can
from the beginning, there was, from when the church that we split from, which was New Testament, and he started House of Prayer, there was no board. The board was God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Ghost, meaning that there was no accountability. He could do whatever he wants. So he started telling his people that he was this great man of God and that he's the only man of God in the entire world, that nobody can get saved but through him or if he calls your name. So everybody elevated him. People, I thought I was in a great church. I thought this was it, you know, because they tell you, oh, if you're out there, you're in sin, your son is going to go into sin and all this. My son's been there since he was 6 years old. Ronnie Dennis stood me. It was me, my husband, and my son. And he told me, you need to give me your son. I said, you're crazy. I'm not going to give you my son. He was 10 years old then. He said, he pointed to me and pointed to my husband. He told my husband, you're going to mess up your son? And he told me that I had a curse on my life. All these years, I'm thinking I got a curse on my life. But it wasn't true. It was just to say, they just, the way he's so charismatic and so soft-spoken, and it's just part of the narcissism and the mind control that people just flock to him, and they lifted him up to this pedestal where anything that he says, they think that he's just holy.
Okay, what type of worship service is conducted there? Maybe you want to answer this, but how do they worship? Do they have traditional Bible study, or do they go through the clapping and the praise service and
Yes.
then okay?
Yes, they do the song service, and that's the thing, that they use the Bible and they twist the Bible to get all these members in there. I mean, he can attest to that. He was my pastor since 2004.
Okay.
From 2004 to 2016 when I was put out. I was put out September 22nd of 2016. And they use the Bible and he just twists it.
Okay, I'm almost finished, but you mentioned something, and I am listening because this is very interesting to me. So you said you have protests at the church, and
Yes.
tell me a little bit about that, and did you accomplish anything, and
We believe
what's
we
the
have
status of your protesting today?
a lot of the people hear us. Another lady that she escaped, she's now in the military, she joined the military, and she told me that she saw me in Kroger one time at the grocery store. She said if I would have talked to her, she would have talked. But we don't know, like when we see these people, a lot of them get aggressive with us. A lot of them have listened, a lot of them have escaped, I believe, you know. He was still part of the cult, because it's not a church, our Lamborghini. And we told him that we will help him if he will, if he'll get out. And I believe God worked it out for him to come out. Andrew has come out. I believe that the rallies, the exposure, because the thing is that he has his own inner circle that's part of his house. A lot of these members don't even know what's going on in the inner circle. So when we come to them with these truths about the real estate, about the fraudulent day school, and everything, how Dennis is taking their money, how they can't speak to their family members, that's not normal that you don't speak to your family members, it makes them think, because that's what Ronnie Dennis has them so busy from noon prayer meeting to Monday, Tuesday Bible study, Bible seminary, the fraudulent day school. It's so much in there that these people don't even have time to go home and think for themselves because they're so busy, they just go home and crash and they're so tired, they don't have time to think for themselves.
It's pretty exhausting.
It's exhausting.
Sometimes
Go ahead.
with the rigorous schedule
Yes.
from Monday night Bible
Okay.
seminary, Tuesday Bible study, Wednesday Bible seminary, Thursday night church service, Friday let's have an all-night prayer meeting.
Yes.
And it's very, very exhausting.
Yes.
It's every day. You're at the church several times a day.
Yes.
What about the school children? Do they keep them up? Do they get their rest, proper sleep at night?
No,
or
they
do
don't. No, they don't.
The children are up with the adults for all-night prayer meeting. It's pretty much everybody there all night. Children are sleeping in the pews because they're so tired.
Yes.
I could not make it through prayer meeting. have fall asleep, but it's an exhausting schedule.
Okay, when you were there, sir, did you participate in keeping children up too?
I had to do what Dennis told us to do. And if he controls everything,
Yes.
and if one of the pastors does not do what he says or agrees, you can tell when someone agrees with you or disagrees. If you're not 100% with him, he will publicly trash you continually for days and have people stand and testify against you. And yes, I saw him just make stuff up. And so
This is in front of the
Yeah,
church.
in front of the church.
Openly, okay, openly.
He has actually had my son stand up and testify against me, like say bad things about me. I mean, anybody that leaves the church, Dennis labels them as a homosexual, or they're gay, or they're enemy of the cross. I mean, you name it, Dennis says it.
Go ahead.
he sent, like I said, he told us we're going to help other churches. For me, if you tell me we're going to live the book of Acts, I'm with you. He said we're going to help other churches, but for what he's done these last few years, when he realized he really had a grip on people, and he knew that those he didn't have a grip on, some of the other elders, he could just trash and get rid of, and he could still control everyone. He claims openly that they have sent people from the church, some of his henchmen, I call them, and have gone to visit every church in Hinesville, Liberty County, some in Long County, even into Savannah. They claim they visited over 500 churches. They will come back, and on Sunday night, those who visited, he will have them stand and testify what they saw. And those who saw it, they have to stand up. Oh yeah, all the churches are gay. Everyone is gay. We went to this one church, there's a gay pastor. Every church in Hinesville is gay. All the pastors are gay. He says that if you leave his church, the gay spirit, the homosexual spirit will get on you and you will become a reprobate.
Okay. Have any of you heard of any court case that involved the church at any level?
Yes. There are many divorces
Yes.
and custody battles.
Yes.
And I can't speak, I don't know how I could say this, but I've heard that even judges in Hinesville, they try to turn the cases of House of Prayer over because they've heard so much junk, they're just sick of it. Now, that's hearsay.
When you say turn them over, what you mean by that?
To where they recuse themselves from the case and have maybe, like one case I know, a judge that is retiring this year from another county is taking a custody case.
Okay. Violence. What about violence? Have they resorted to intimidating people?
Oh,
or?
yes. I mean, I had one lady that, wherever we at, there's one incident. I went to go see my friend Janessa at McDonald's, and there was a member there, and they do anything to your car, you name it, they do it. I was walking out, and she was on my left hand side, and I was on the right hand side, and she actually knocked my phone out of my hand. And she took me to court, and she said that I was stalking her. But it was proven that, that I did not stalk her, because we don't stalk them. We just want them to know what they're involved in. That's our mission, that we just want them to know the truth.
Okay, let me ask you a question. What about the church services in a lot of the black churches? By the way, this pastor black or white?
Roney Dennis, he's black.
He's
from
black.
Haiti.
He's from Haiti, okay. Can you record one of the church services to take home to your parents?
No.
That was forbidden.
That was forbidden.
Ushers roam around, and if you're playing with your phone, they're going to take you out.
Yes.
Or they'll
Yes.
Explain your experience.
Yes, we're going through well, I've gone through a divorce
Right.
because of Roney Dennis told
Right.
my wife to kick me out. I've done all I could to fight it. One time we were in Savannah at mediation for the divorce. I never saw my wife. She was in another room with her lawyer. I was in with my lawyer. There was a mediator, another lawyer. And I had to go to my car, and I saw some of them out there. So when I came back and it was all done, I asked my lawyer to walk with me to my car. I said, because they're out there. Dennis had Gerard Robertson, who's one of the head pastors there now. Jeff Derby is one of his main henchmen. Okay? My son, my daughter-in-law, and my grandson. They were parked by my car, and they were all standing against the wall. On hopcc.com, you can see pictures of them. And my lawyer, he said, I can't believe this. They were all standing by my car to intimidate me. Okay? And my lawyer started taking pictures of them. He said, these people are crazy. Now, also, there is another reporter that did a lot of coverage, but his station would not let him put it out.
That's
Okay? And they sent him over 26 emails threatening him, telling him he needs to leave him alone. And then, because he's a very good reporter. I have a lot of respect for him. He was trying to get to them to get the other side of the story. Finally, they said, listen, you try to contact us again, we will consider it harassment. We have a very high-paid lawyer in Atlanta, and if you want to contact us, you go through our lawyer.
Now, I'm considering when I first started doing this, because I try when I can to get both sides of the story. So it's pretty near zero for me getting inside of that church to do an interview on anybody.
Oh, yeah.
So that's almost a waste of time.
Yes.
If you go there with your press badge,
Oh,
no,
no.
you won't make it past.
Well, normally that's the way it runs. Okay, now we getting ready to close this, but again, I have a question for you. If I ask you, do you know anybody else that had a story to tell here that would be willing to come in front of this camera and sit down with us and the American people, what would you say?
Yes. Andrew.
I asked you for another individual. Who is this individual sitting next to you? Can you tell me who he is?
Andrew Lahan. I've known him since he was like 5 years old. He was part of the House of Prayer Christian Church.
Okay, so that's how you met him?
Yes.
You all became friends?
Yes,
Or?
at the church, yes.
Okay, and how did he get here? Why is he here today? How did he just happen to be here today?
He escaped the cult. I believe he got tired of it, and he called his mom, and his mom called me, and he was ready to leave, and I picked him up from his job, and got him out of there.
Did they get violent, or did they
No.
just, or you just
When I
happened?
picked him up, no.
Okay, so I want to be fair. I want to be balanced. So if it was that easy to get him out, then it's not so hard to get people out, I would perceive.
It's a very,
Only if they want to come out.
Go ahead, and then we go ahead.
it's very hard when you make the decision or you realize that you want to leave. It's a very desperate situation. They threatened this man's life. When I left, I had to leave in the middle of the night with everything that I could fit into a pillowcase.
Okay.
The reason me leaving was not easy. I was
Okay.
involved in a lot of stuff. Number one, I was involved in the day school. Number two, they took me out of the day school in the 9th grade to work on their rental properties. The real estate fraud that you heard about, I was a part of it. I renovated, did renovations on most of their houses. I did a lot of remodeling, maintenance, and then they moved me into a home where I would go on base and I would work with the soldiers and bring the soldiers in, and make them a part, almost like love bomb them, like bring them in, try to help them become a part of the church. And so I was more like a pillar, something that they relied on. When they need something done around the house, they would call me to go do it. So for me to leave was hard. I packed all my stuff into a little backpack, as much stuff as I could fit in the backpack and all my important documents, and I came to work. And I had to hide the backpack going to work, because if they would have saw it, they would ask me questions. And I called my mom. Whenever I called my mom, my phone cut off 3 times. In the process of me calling my mom, I'm pretty sure they had my phone tapped. And then I asked my mom, and my mom said Gladys is going to pick me up. And I ran to her truck because I knew at any moment House Spirit could pull up and try to get me to not get in her car by whatever means.
So you didn't have no free space like to go to Burger King or Pizza Hut?
Everywhere you go in that church, there has to be another person with you. It's called a battle buddy system. So if you do something wrong, say you look a certain way, or you look at a woman, or a lady says hi to you, or anything like that, they go back and they tell the pastor on you. Or like if Gladys had tried to say hi to me before I left, they would have ran and told the pastor. And then the pastor would have yelled at me for a while. There's no free space. Everything is controlled by your pastor or your leader. The thoughts that I would think, they would ask me, so have you sinned today? Did you do something wrong? And they would ask me like, so when was the last time you thought about quitting?
So, I mean, where do you live? Where did you live when you was a member of the church? Where did you live? In the church?
I lived in a home for the soldiers off base.
It's a home that the church, the House of Prayer has.
And they call it what?
Serviceman's home.
And that's where the members live?
Yes.
Yes.
They all...
Some soldiers.
The single soldiers.
It's for single soldiers.
But
Okay, so that means that some people, all of them don't live there. Some live in, like, they live in individual houses like over here.
Yes.
Yes.
Those are the
Owned
ones
by
that
the
they
church.
trust and pretty near think that they're not going to go against the grain. Is that it?
Yes.
well, but also on that, many of them own 3 or 4 houses. There's 3 or 4 houses in their name, and then a lot of times they live in a house that's in someone else's name. So if you think you're going to leave, then you're in a house that's not in your name. You will be if you go against the church, you, just like me, I was a pastor for 14 years. I was evicted the day I was kicked out of church. My stuff, they went into my house, and before I got home, my stuff was at my front door.
Okay, let me back up. Here's the point I'm trying to get across. This is the picture I want to paint. If you're a member of a traditional church, you can live anywhere in town.
Yes.
All the members are all scattered over the city and county. Does that exist in that church?
No.
No. He
Dennis-
tells you where to
So
live.
that's why they all end up there or another place that they have control over there.
It's very controlled.
Their
Okay.
Extremely.
hundreds of houses are in their name, and he has control over hundreds of houses, and he tells you where.
And he tells you where to live.
Okay.
Dennis tells you where to live.
Okay. Anything else you want to share with us, my brother? What's your name, by the way, again?
Andrew Lahan.
Andrew Lyon.
I wanted to share also, I had family in that church. My dad and my brother. And my dad, to this day, if I was to go and try to talk to my dad would laugh at me, call me gay, because they literally drive you to kill the feelings for the people that have left. So if my dad was to see me in Walmart, my dad would start yelling gay or homosexual, and they talk about me like I did a whole bunch of bad stuff. Whenever I was there, I did everything I could to help people. I would give them money, I'd give my parents money, people all over the place, I'd give them money, I'd do free work at their houses, trying to help people out. But now that I'm gone, now they just accuse me of all types of horrible stuff that I never did.
Like right now, the members, they are not, anybody that has left that church, the members are not allowed to talk to us. None of us. Nobody that has left the church. Nobody.
Talk to me.
Nobody.
So you mean the people in the church won't talk to you?
No, they're not allowed to.
Okay. Now you mentioned something, and I heard this on my way here, but I want you to tell me a little bit about the school. In terms of, you went to school. Did you gain anything by going to school?
Not really. I mean, they took me out of the 9th grade, and they gave me a fake diploma. So I mean, I've been trying to join the military since I left. I have to go to and get my GED before I can join, because they gave me a fake diploma.
When you say fake diploma, what you mean?
The diploma is unaccredited. Basically, it's computer generated. It's fake.
But did you learn anything in school?
Not really. No.
Not everything from the books, they copyright them from the BJU. Everything is copyrighted. The school is mostly for control because Dennis has a polycom in the school too. So it's all for control. That the kids, we were told that the kids were never gonna get a high school diploma. I took my son out when he was in the 5th grade. And when I got put out, he was in the 9th grade. My younger son had to repeat the 9th grade twice because House of Prayer would not give him the 2 credits that he earned in there. So the school is basically for control. They're not going to learn anything in there.
Okay, now, if I ask you a question, do you know anybody else that is willing to talk in this town?
Yes.
About this? Who you know that would talk and say something?
Miss Janessa. Or Sis Janessa.
Where is she? This your who?
Sis Janessa.
Let's hear from her. Again, what's your name?
Andrew.
Andrew, there's someone sitting beside you. How do you know this individual? Yes.
Well, she's a really good friend of mine.
Okay.
I've known her since from House of Prayer.
Okay. And what's your name?
Janessa Wright.
Janessa Wright, what can you tell me and the people across America about this cult? And I'm going to use the term a very strong cult. What can you say about it?
House of Prayer is indeed a modern day Jim Jones cult that, if not stopped, is going to have many travesties and deaths or something to that effect if no one does anything about it.
What makes you speak out rather than being silent? What makes you speak out?
I believe my strongest emotions are very concerned for the children in House of Prayer. I was there for almost 16 years, 17 years, and I was a young GI. I got saved in New Testament Christian Church, and we left New Testament Christian Church with Roney Dennis, the cult leader, to so-called start another church that was going to be holy and pure and good and not political, and it was everything 10 times worse. And you just got caught up, and I was brainwashed to the extent that I believed he was a man of God, and he was very good at what he does.
You say you were there 16 years.
Yes.
How many years were you in the military?
6.
You was in 6 years. And where were you stationed at?
Fort Stewart, Georgia.
Where's Fort Stewart?
Right here in Hinesville, Georgia.
So there are many other people that may be here caught up or may have the potential to be caught up in this cult church who are very intelligent, getting paid a pretty good salary with benefits, that could become a victim of this teaching, and they can come from anywhere across the United States. And the question of concern should be to the parents across America. If my son is stationed at Fort Stewart, they very well could join this particular church. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes, sure.
So if you had to recount your step backwards, where do you think you made your first mistake, and how did you make it in terms of ending up in that church? Did somebody approach you on base? Did you go to the grocery store and meet someone?
I was on base and I was approached at reception, which is a tactic of theirs, and they love bomb you, and being a young
They do what?
They love bomb you, as in they do everything in the world for you, give you the shirt off their back, get you off base, take you wherever you need to go. They become like mothers or aunts or uncles, like family. And that's what draws you in because of the false sense of love.
My beautiful brother, let me ask you a question. Did they love bomb you?
To a certain point, but I was born into it.
Oh, so you was a little different, right? You was born into it. What about you? Was you love bomb?
Yes, definitely.
And how did they love bomb you? Short bomb. This short. They're short.
Because I was part of the New Testament Christian Church too before the split happened in 2004, and I was told by a friend, do you want to stay in house New Testament, or do you want to go where Roney Dennis is? And my biggest mistake was, instead of saying I'll stay where God wants me to, I said I'll go where Roney Dennis. And that's how I became part of House of Prayer International.
That's how you got bombed. Okay, what about you? What's your bombing experience?
I was love bombed. I was actually had two completely different encounters in 2004. Before my first deployment to Iraq, I was invited to a church there in Fort Hood, Texas, and then when I was reassigned to Fort Gordon, Georgia, I was invited to a church there.
Please, wait a minute. I'm sorry if you interrupted. Please try to hold your point, okay? Fort Hood, Fort Stewart, Fort Gordon, they have bases in all those locations?
All three of those, they have churches in all three of those locations.
Does the federal government know about what is going on with these churches? The Joint Chiefs of Staff, anyway, go ahead, I'm sorry. Go on.
There are several military installations who are aware of the church and a lot of things. A lot of soldiers are discouraged from having anything to do with their real estate company. Both of my encounters of being invited, I did not know all of these churches were connected until I went to my first conference, but it was the same thing. I got invited to church, I got invited to a Q&A, came and had dinner with a lot of sincere people. And it's funny how this church kind of united all of us, because we really come from all different walks of life. But being in this church, we were bonded, we were family. And all of a sudden, if you go against or you decide to leave, you have to leave this family behind, or you have to leave your own spouse behind if they are so tangled up in all these lies. It's a decision not only to leave the church, but to leave your family.
So as an American citizen, as well as a military veteran, federal employee, serving in Iraq, your life on the line, and yet, when you went to this church and you saw things was wrong, did you bring that up to your commander? And if not, why not?
I did not bring it up to my commander because speaking about church business to people outside was not, you could not. A lot of times, I was an active duty soldier, so I had to keep my active duty life very separate from my church life.
So there's a possibility that all of this that's going on, base commanders, the chaplain on base, the OSI, in Army they call it different, not OSI, they call it something else. But the bottom line is that they don't know, maybe they don't know what's going on.
And at the time I was in, I was drawn. I was very defensive if other people, or whether it was NCOs or commanders, everybody had questions about the church because the church was on post. They were inviting soldiers. They were making noise. So I would get defensive about the church. I would defend the church.
Okay. Are you aware? I'm retired military, and I know because they did it in Valdosta when there was racial problems there. It seems to me, and I will try to make it a point to bring this up with some base commanders. And a lot of them will sit down and talk to the press, even if this church will not. And what I would like to know is why have not base commanders banned these churches? And I've seen that before. In other words, if it's causing stress among people and military personnel, they may just need to put them churches off limit. That's just food for thought. In closing, I'm going to start on the end, my beautiful sister. What do you think elected officials or base personnel or the communities can do to assist people that may be out there and need help but can't see their way through this? What do you think anybody can do to help expose or bring what is happening out in the...
I think that the elected officials in this county need to recognize that there is a problem and that there are many families across this country that have contacted us wanting to know why they haven't heard from their children in 5, 10, 12, 15 years. And I believe that there needs to be an investigation done outside of this county because the county is obviously not doing anything about it. There's been 3 FBI investigations and they've all been closed.
Wait. There have been 3 what?
I believe there have been 3
Yeah.
FBI investigations which are closed, which someone in the news media has tried to get a report, a records request of the investigation because now they're closed and they've been waiting for over a year.
They can't get any information. No, we'll see about that. What do you think can be done about it? Or what needs to be done? Or what hope? I know you still got a father out there, but what do you think?
Well, I think people need to, I think the community needs to be warned. I think everybody needs to pay attention and realize that this is a cult, and this is indeed a cult, and to stay away from it. Because they will bring you in, they'll like bring groceries to your house, they'll do whatever they
Love
can
bomb
to
you.
bring you in. And then once you're in there, there's no coming out. So if I can say anything, it's stay away from that place.
Do you think there's a possibility that eventually there may be lives lost?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yes,
For sure.
definitely.
Absolutely.
I believe if the officials, they don't get involved, I'm afraid that it's gonna be another Jim Jones, because as far as we know, Ronnie Dennis has practiced the Kool-Aid ritual to his inner members at his house. Yes. And he has lined them up, and they have to step to his house, and he gives them some kind of drink, and they have to drink it to prove their loyalty to Ronnie Dennis. So yes, if nothing is done by officials or the word getting out, I believe a lot of lives are going to be lost. Yes, it's going to be another Jim Jones movement.
It is a very dangerous situation. If you are blessed enough to make it out, a lot of times it is at a very great cost. A lot of us have lost family who are stuck in this church, and you either make the decision to follow Ronnie Dennis or you just cut off from your family, from the church. A lot of times, people that have left, including myself, it's a very desperate situation to leave. Your children are threatened. You're worried about being followed and stalked, and the people who are left there are given pictures and told stories about, people that have left, so that the people who are still there fear leaving this church. If they think about leaving, they fear it now.
Okay.
Yes, I've been out for a year and 1 month. Brother Andrew, he got out in January, and when he came out, he said that there had been several instances where people had confessed suicidal thoughts. Different members, he mentioned someone in particular that was continually plagued with suicidal thoughts, and Dennis would have some of the ministers, he would give the ministers the power to pray for that person. I don't want to say her name, but it's serious. It's really, really serious. This man, anything you read about narcissists, anything you read about the Jezebel spirit, it is said a narcissist does not have friends. A narcissist has assets or liabilities. And if you're an asset, he'll keep you. If you're a liability, he doesn't want you to leave. He wants you destroyed. Before I left, he said Bradine needs to be openly, before I left, he said Bradine needs to be on the street, homeless. And then, about a month before I left, he said that my then wife, now my ex-wife, that Chris, she is free. He gave her the power, the authority. He said she is free to divorce me and marry whoever she wants. And probably about a month ago, at a court hearing where I testified, but she has nothing to do there. They show up when there's any type of court hearing, custody case. They send a group of people there to intimidate the people who have left. Jim Jones 101. Jim Jones did this all the time. My wife introduced me to someone. She walked by and I said, "Hey, I love you." She turned around and said, "Hey, have you met Willie? He's going to be my new husband." We weren't even divorced. Right up there at Liberty County Courthouse. So this man controls people's minds. He rewrites their past. He has them rewrite their past. He has them throw away all family pictures, cut off their family. If their family seems like they're going to be a liability, totally cut off. I have a list of phone numbers of family members across the country that get my phone number from the website, and they call me. "Have you seen my son? I haven't talked to my son for 10 years. Have you seen my daughter? I haven't talked to my daughter, my niece," whoever it may be. And there's a lot of people very concerned.
Could you give me any website right now that I can put with this video when I post this, that the people out there who may want to know something about this cult and their child?
Absolutely. It is hopcc.com.
Give it to me again.
hopcc.com. And it is ran by 2 former members. They don't really put up trash. What they put up is factual. It's not just a gossip session, but they put up a lot of facts on that website.
While you're talking about that, let me say this to the people that's watching. I don't want the people that's watching this to think that because I'm doing it, nobody is working to expose this. Because this has been going on for a long time. We have people right here in this local community, I am told, and less than 4 hours I had no knowledge of any of this. But you all know me, I come when I'm called. And when I heard about this, you know I had to get here. Because I don't believe in the Jesus that many of you all believe in. My Jesus don't teach me to just go behind four walls of a church, clap my hand, holler hallelujah and hallelujah, while people are catching hell on the backside of heaven, and I don't say nothing. Every prophet, priest, and king that God ever had that traveled this great land of holy divine, they did just what these people are doing here now. They are not in the church with their lips nailed together. They are here because they care about somebody outside of themselves. Now that's the teachings of my Jesus. This is the fellowship that I want with the people that serve the God that I serve. But that other fake Jesus that you know about this, if you're a reporter and you don't report it, if you're the FBI and you know about it and you don't say anything, if you're with the G.B.R. and you know about it and you don't say nothing, if you're the base commander and you don't say nothing about it, then I know for a fact that you got to be influenced by the hand of the wicked one. Now, I'm going to leave this closing statement right here to the base commander, Fort Stewart, to the county commissioners and the chairman of the county commissioners, to the mayor and each elected official, to all the clergy here, Jew rabbis, Christian ministers, imams in Islam, the sheikhs, and those who follow the teachings of Buddha. All of you, if you know this is going on, not to mention the local, state, and federal elected officials and governments who know about this. And if you sit, say, and do nothing, and if there is a loss of life, listen, Joel, the second chapter, first verse says, blow ye the trumpet in Zion, sound an alarm in my holy mountains. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord cometh and is nigh at hand. I am blowing the horn, but I'm not blowing it of my own. I am blowing it because the superior beings blew his horn. And I heard the call. And that's why I'm here. Now the question is, everybody that I've called, every agency that I call, do you hear the clarion call? I will say again, if something happened within this church, and if we sit back and wait for another Jim Jones, then we all are at fault. Y'all excuse me for raising my voice. But America must stand up for what she wrote down on paper. Now, I am going to do this. I don't know how it's going to come out, but I'm coming over here to shake your hands. You are indeed a warrior. You are a warrior. You are a warrior. You are a warrior. You are a warrior, and I thank you for standing up. Too many Americans today refuse to stand up. They know Jesus. They know Muhammad. They know Buddha. They know Astaroth, and they know some more. But when it comes down to standing up, they're nowhere to be found. But somewhere I read it, though we suffer, and though we die, by the blood of the Lamb, we shall overcome. And I believe that. All the time. Once again, we get ready to close this out, and as always, I love the truth, and I love people who have not succumbed to losing their voice tone. And I didn't know this until today. I walked with Bobby Worthy, But after getting here and listening to these people, they say that Bobby Worthy have been here before. And so, before you speak, Bobby, my beautiful sister, what can you tell me that you know about Bobby Worthy in terms of being in this community?
I met Bobby Worthy at our first rally in May of 2017, and he wanted to know a little bit about what we were doing. We explained it to him, and he offered his help.
Okay. And do you know me? Do you know me of working over here? You don't?
No, I just met you today.
That's because I've been over, but not on this. So I just said that because I don't want no credit for this before today. But after today, I'll take the credit that I earned. Mr. Bobby Worthy, will you tell us about this facility that we are now hearing about?
Well, like I said, I was riding around in Walthamville one day. I was in Hinesville. Someone said, man.
What year?
2017, when I first met her. Someone said, man, have y'all heard about what's going on with the church over in Walthamville, the House of Prayer, which is the house of hope now.
The place of help.
Yeah.
Place of
now,
help.
and I went and I listened to them and talked to them, and then it was telling me about the rallies and stuff. So I started digging into this guy's background. I started digging into it, and I went all out.
This guy, what guy are we talking
This
about?
guy named Dennis.
Help him out.
Roney
Roney Dennis. Roney Dennis. Let me tell you first of all the history of Roney Dennis. Roney Dennis' father in Haiti is known as the boogeyman in the voodoo world. I found that out. He's very he's a person of great character, and when I say great character, I mean he is a master manipulator. He is a master. I'm not saying a toy. He may be even better than Jim Jones.
Oh, yes.
It is a religious cult.
Excuse me. Now, you saying he may be better and you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yes.
You agree with that too?
Yes.
You?
Yes.
You?
Yes.
Wow. No, I'm sorry, Bob. I had to put that on tape. Let's go.
But, and I was invited, listen to me, I was invited to come to the church. And Bobby Worthy fears nothing when Bobby Worthy won't step foot in the dens full of lead devils. Because the devil is the master of trickery and deceit. And if you go in there, you will get deceived. And I just admit it. But long story short, we had a big meeting. Two elected officials, one I know real good, I went to school with him, was a Walthamville city councilman. He promised me that he would come to the meeting, that he had heard what's going on with the church. So all this, the mayor in Walthamville, the city councilman, all of them was emailed the same thing. And he, since I knew him, he said he would come, but he never showed up at the meeting. And he knew about it. I hadn't heard nothing since. Al Williams, state representative, Al Williams, did come to the meeting. He was emailed on all this stuff. He knows about this stuff, and he has did nothing to return none of my calls, and he has went left ever since.
So, Bobby, if something happened, he need to be held accountable because he knew about it. After the fact, as Jim Jones, will be too late.
That's right. Now, and there are, like she said, there were 3 FBI investigations that were closed. My opinion why the FBI closed the cases is because Dennis is a master manipulator and he's very smart. All the real estate fraud and all that, he knows how to keep his name a distance from it. A lot of real estates are in other pastors' name, other members' names. But if you dig deeper into it, he has a hold on it where he can rip that from them at any moment. He has the sheriff department, the Liberty County Sheriff Department in his hand. Understand that. Wait a minute.
Repeat that again.
He has the Liberty County Sheriff, because I have went back and forth with the Sheriff Department. I've talked to him, I've sent him letters, and he hires the Liberty County Sheriff Department as private security. And I'm sure he's paying them good. And I'm sure he then agrees to sheriff pocket. And like I said, at every rally, every event, the sheriff department, I had witnessed myself. 300 people come up to the protesters from the church, led by Roney Dennis, up to the protester, and the Liberty County Sheriff Deputy allowed it. They could have started a riot, it could have been a fight. He allowed the whole church to come up to the protesters face to face. And that was done by a deputy. I had a deputy tell me she didn't have to answer my question. I said, well, as a public official, you will answer to those questions. And these people I look at them all the time. They keep going. They keep striving to move forward. Like I said, this man, literally houses in your own. And if you go through the research, he has domestic violence on his record with him and his wife, with the sheriff department and all was called. Of course, nothing happened because the sheriff department is in his pocket.
Bobby, watch. You're making a statement.
And it's all on tape. It's all on the web. You can Google it. Like I said, he's a master manipulator. I have several of the church current members, when all this was going on, call and try to make deals with me, try to sit down at the table with me and want to talk and all this. They went. Listen, first of all, they even went they didn't know who I was first of all, but they do now. They even went as far as going in my background. Everybody got a background history, and to tell the people, I said, really, who cares? Don't worry about what done in the past. Done in the past is gone. You can't change that. Worry about what I'm doing right now, but I didn't say it in that many words that good because you got Pastor Christian. I can't go there. I had to beep. But he is a man that is capable, without a doubt, with his power and the money he has. A mob, this is what a mob is. People don't understand. The definition of a mob is a person with money and power to affect change in anything that they stand. When a group of people come together with money and power, that is a mob. He has completed he has moved beyond the mob with the money he has and the contacts he got, and he has his money hidden very well. In my opinion, he maybe got offshore accounts or something, but he has his money hidden very well, and he got plenty of it. And the FBI, now I hate to say it, but the FBI knows this. There is no doubt in my mind the federal government knows this. Somehow this man then got in their pocket as well. That's what I believe. That's my belief. Because there's no in the world of stuff that he's pulling, especially with the real estate. And he's getting away with it. Not even that, he got the soldiers signing over. The soldiers that come in, she can witnesses all been the soldiers, they have to bring their LES.
Wait a minute, now you mean to tell me, I'm retired military, so they had to bring the LES to the pastor to deal or show their income?
Yes.
Who said yes?
Yes.
How do you know this?
I know.
You just know it?
It's yes.
I had to provide mine.
You speaking from
Yes.
experience?
Yes.
Yes.
Wow. I'm sorry, continue.
Yeah. And not only that, to provide the LES, when the soldiers, listen, when this is a good one, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong now, because it's been a while and I'm getting old. When the soldiers deploy, whether they're female or male and they married, all their financial information, all their financial bank accounts have to go to the church, and the church take care of the spouses. Am I correct?
I didn't see that, but deeply involved in it.
As the single soldiers, most definitely they try to get control of everything.
They try to get control of the soldiers' financial information.
Created checks
Yeah.
for tithe and offering.
Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong, now, the general, I don't know if it's the same commanding general back then, probably is, but they did issue an order. I found one order that they issued that the soldiers on a temporary basis had to stay away from the house of prayer. That didn't last long. Somebody got in somebody's pocket. Because if you could take and get hold of a commanding general of a base, which can stop his soldiers from even coming on Liberty County property.
That's what I know.
With one word, I dare y'all to be involved with this thing, and that will take care of all that. So somebody has gotten to the high brass on Fort Stewart.
We were all told to vote for tanks.
Yeah, because this is why you're gonna have. This is how you're gonna have to go to the Department of Justice. This is how you're going to have to go to the Joint Chiefs of Staff to stop this because and they know this. They know this stuff is going on because they put out a warning also for the soldiers to be careful when they're dealing with this. And you stop them temporarily, but all of a sudden you start it back. So somebody got some money somewhere.
And the main thing about it, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, Bobby Worthy, is that it's not just Fort Stewart, but it's many other military bases. Am I correct?
Yep. All over the country, military bases, like they said, they target military families and installations of military established because the money is, they know that the money is plentiful. Mm-hmm. It's there. The resources to get the spouses, the separate rations, the separate pay for housing, all that's there. So that's why I say the man is smart.
Bobby, would you send out a plea asking the mothers across America whose child may be caught up in this to reach out to the website that, what's that website?
Hopcc.com.
Okay, Bobby, don't you think that would be a great place to start?
Yes. And I just did a live feed and I put that on the website, told everybody to go to it, they can learn the history and everything. Like I said, everything, this is, what's his name?
Roney Dennis?
No, not Roney Dennis from Greensboro, they got the website.
Raymond York.
Yeah, he has done a great, wonderful job on that website. That website is...
You go ahead, you had something to say, my brother?
Excellent. He does an excellent job.
And what's that name once again?
Raymond York. His former military, and he was a former pastor with House of Prayer.
And he's a fighter. In other words, he has given a lot of his time to get this website out. So people across America need to visit this website and share this website so we can use Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and others to spread the truth, because these people who say they love Jesus, Jesus said, and ye shall know the truth, and that the truth will set you free. Yeah. So if the truth is the only thing that will set us free, the people in this church need the truth, because what will that do for them?
It'll set them free.
And let me say this here. The key thing to a mind, a person that can control your mind, is just like if you raise a puppy from a small puppy and you raise him up. The puppy will have loyalty to you. And it's the same thing he do. He get these children at a young age, and they know nothing else but Dennis, Roney, and Roney Dennis. That's all they know. And then he becomes God to them. And he's smart. He doesn't. He has a lot of older people, but the young people is where he put his power into, because that's how he separate the families. When these people leave, the children are still there because their loyalty is not with God or with the religion, but Dennis.
That's right.
Roney Dennis.
And if I could add something to that, there are children. There's one that has escaped that will testify to this, that has had to lay their hand on a Bible and say that Roney Dennis is their God. So what Bobby said is absolutely correct.
Say that once again real slow for me. I'm going to put you in the camera because some people may not believe you the first time. Do it again.
There are children, teenagers, and even adults. I don't know if any adults that have left had to do it, but we know of one teenager. I don't want to use her name, but she's testified in other things. She had to put her hand on a Bible with other teenage girls and confess that Roney Dennis was her God. Verbatim.
And one more thing, when we was talking about, he was talking about they sent all these people in, a group of people to intimidate members when they go into court, like they did when his divorce. I witnessed this personally, and it's all on YouTube. I witnessed them come into a meeting a town hall meeting that I set up with these people to talk about it. I allowed them to talk and ask questions. I had several times they kept interrupting the meetings, and I know they was doing this because they had earpieces on, so they was listening to somebody.
Roney Dennis was in control.
Roney did, and they kept interrupting. I told them, I said, listen, I'm gonna allow y'all. I'm gonna be fair. I'm gonna allow y'all to talk, but you need to wait till they get through and ask them questions. So they kept on and kept on. They arguing back and forth with her son and got her son involved, and they going back and forth. I got tired of it and put my foot down and put their behind out. Literally put them out the meeting. I said, well, hey, come to dude, I had to cuss, and I excused me for that day. And when I cussed, he jumped up and said, oh man, you cuss. I said, I'm not claiming to be a Christian, but what I am is the person that dictate this meeting, and you finna get up out of here, and you gonna walk, or I'm gonna carry you out.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have any closing words?
No, and that's the thing with the people. They're not allowed to have Facebook, no kind of social media. I mean, no newspaper. He even has some of his members cancel their newspaper subscription. So they're nothing, no social, nothing.
Yeah. When the local reporter ran a news report about the church and said it was about their rallies that they ran. After that, the pastor who took my place, who Dennis put in my place because he was loyal to Dennis, he got up and told everyone that the Coastal Courier, everyone at the Coastal Courier was gay, and they're all a bunch of homosexuals. And they talked negative about the church, and we were told to never buy the newspaper again, and if you have a subscription, you need to cancel it now.
No
And if you didn't cancel it, they would find out, and they would trash you.
Yeah, they're not allowed to go to the library, no internet, no social media, no nothing. Nothing with the outside. No books.
Keep you blind, deaf, and true.
Yeah, they had to throw away, while I was there, people had to throw away all of their books. And all they would have is the notes that Dennis gives. And Dennis, he calls people at 3 in the morning and he teaches. And he tells them they have to write this down. He said, you need to write this down. This is inspired by God. I don't just talk. What I'm telling you is from the heaven, or from the throne room. All hours of the night. So the only voice they hear is Dennis or someone echoing what Dennis has said.
The boogeyman.
The boogeyman from Haiti.
Okay. Bobby, it don't seem like we're going to finish, but we stopped at a house, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is where we got into this about this church tonight, and we decided to come over here. But didn't she say something about a bus traveling through the community, a black bus?
Yeah, she said the lady was like a mother to me, my childhood, my best friend, mother. And she said there was a black bus that comes by and pick the kids up in Long County, Louis, and it's got boogeyman on it. I told him I didn't know if that was associated with the church or not, but it's got boogeyman on it.
So that has nothing to do with it.
No, nothing at all.
Thank you very much. Now, if you all don't mind, let's have a prayer before we leave. Let's end this out in prayer. I get that baby. Ain't going nowhere. Okay. Y'all ready?
We're ready.
Okay. You want to pray?
Sure.
You can.
Sure. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, dear God, I thank you for this moment. Dear God, and anyone who watches this can plainly see we don't have animosity, we don't have hatred. We just want the truth out. Many of us have friends and family that are in that cult, and they need to be delivered. We want them to have the truth. Dear God, and we know on the outside, we know 100 times more than they know, because all they hear is the voice of Roney Dennis, the boogeyman. Dear God, we have heard your voice. Your sheep hear your voice, and they follow you. God, thank you for this moment. Thank you for George. Thank you for Bobby for coming here tonight. It was a promptu, in a second, we got a call, and we said come, and got together who we could. There are others that would be glad to testify. Dear God, let this go out to millions of people to know that their friends, their loved ones, their family members are in grave danger in this destructive cult. Dear God, set the captive free by the powerful name of Jesus Christ, I pray. Amen.
Amen. I want to thank you all again for having courage. And I know you heard me say it before, but the reason why I appreciate you all so much, the work that we do, we have people come forward with very powerful information, and then we call them back. They don't answer the phone. So I want to commend you all again. Thank you very much. This is the Get To Free Press. I'm George Boston Rhymes. I'm over here in Hinesville. I got kind of lost today, but I hope that you all will share this video and go to the website of
Hopcc.com.
Got it? All right. We're going to type it on the screen for you. Peace. Bye-bye. We're gone.